From the Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone, today on Good Morning Maine, the Woodland Pulp Mill has reported the death of a second employee as a result from a gas incident back in January.
Plus, public hearings began at the State House on Governor Mills' proposed supplemental budget plan.
And Washington County Sheriff Barry Curtis, who spent more than 4 decades in law enforcement, is now retiring. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday morning. Those are just a few of the stories we'll have for you over the next hour. But first, to check the forecast. It was a little icy when we came into work this morning.
Yeah, and it was a little foggy too.
Yeah, imagine with the sun coming up now, that should burn off nicely. And the good news is it looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day. Temperatures in the upper 30s, so it's going to feel like maybe a little taste of spring.
Yes.
If you squint your eyes.
Maybe we can pretend.
Right.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. For fast, beautiful countertops, trust Stone Artisans, your main stone supplier. 2493040. Alrighty, we have advisories posted. This right here is a small craft advisory that is posted until 7 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. We'll be watching for some high surf coming up, especially through today with some gusty winds that we will be seeing. In the meantime, here's what we are looking at. We have some snow tracking from the west, and that is tracking east. This will be clearing out throughout the morning period, and the clouds will be breaking up to reveal a good amount of sunshine. There's another system off toward the west, and in the meantime, we are going to be dry for a few days before we get some more activity in here. So futurecast for today, a lot of sunshine, perhaps a few passing clouds, and later on tonight, notice we'll have a few passing clouds, perhaps some fog too, but overall tonight and a parts of your Thursday, still holding on to the clear skies and sunshine as well. Gusty winds up to 20 to 25 miles per hour today, still some wind tonight, and as we head towards tomorrow, still some wind to keep an eye on. The hourly forecast moving forward for today, temperatures making it into the 30s, plenty of sunshine. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you later on. A second employee from the Woodland Pulp Mill has passed away following a gas release incident that happened at the Baileyville Mill back in late January. The death was confirmed by a mill spokesperson, but the employee's name has not been released. On Tuesday, January 27th, the local fire department says they were called to the mill around 6:20 p.m. after the workers were overcome by some type of gas. Officials say the gas was contained to the bleach plant at the mill. University of Maine student Casey Malcolm was an intern at the plant at the time. He also died following that gas release. He was just 20 years old.
Last night, the Maine CDC announced 4 additional cases of measles in Penobscot County. That brings the total case count to 5. Our Callie Warren has more on what it means and some advice from the Maine CDC.
This resurgence of vaccine-preventable diseases, including measles, has been ongoing for the last 2 years across the United States.
With 5 measles cases now on the Maine CDC's radar, and all of them in Penobscot County, Director Pateri Va says now is the time to make sure you're vaccinated against measles, mumps, and rubella.
The vaccine is very effective at protecting you. 2 doses, 97% effective. 1 dose, 93% effective. 0 doses, no protection.
Maine's first case of measles since 2019 was announced on February 6th in Penobscot County. The infected person was an adult who was known to visit the Hillview Mini Barns in Etna on January 28th and 29th, and St. Joseph's Hospital's emergency room on February 3rd. Now, 4 more people are known to be infected, all tied back to that same original case.
All 4 cases are unvaccinated.
These new cases do not suggest an outbreak of measles. An outbreak is defined as 3 or more unrelated cases. As of right now, per the CDC, there is no measles outbreak in Maine, though Dr. Va says that doesn't mean folks shouldn't take caution.
It's not without complications, and it's not just another rash, and it's not just another cold. It's that 1 in 5 individuals will get complications from measles, such as pneumonia or swelling of the brain, encephalitis. and it will require hospitalizations as well.
According to Dr. Va, the measles disease presents similarly to the common cold for the first few days of infection, including symptoms of cough, runny nose, red and watery eyes, and a high fever. A rash spreading from the head down typically appears a few days later.
What's really critical here is that you are not infectious when the rash appears. You're actually infectious 4 days before the rash and then 4 days through the rash afterwards.
For more information on measles, vaccination, and precautions, visit this story on our website. Callie Warren reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news this morning, a trial began Tuesday for a man accused of killing his girlfriend's 3-year-old daughter in Edgecombe. Tyler Witham Jordan is charged with depraved indifference murder for the death of McKinsley Handrahan. Authorities say it was on Christmas morning back in 2022 when the child's mother called 911 to report her daughter was cold, stiff, and not breathing. First responders found bruises all over the little girl's body, and the medical examiner's office ruled the cause of death was blunt force trauma and internal injuries. Witham Jordan's first trial ended in a mistrial. His new trial got underway yesterday in Bath.
The man accused of shooting at and damaging 3 different CMP substation locations made his first court appearance yesterday. 54-year-old Thomas Welsh of Fairfield is facing multiple counts of aggravated criminal mischief in connection with the shooting incidents, which Maine State Police say occurred at CMP substations in Windsor, Winslow, and Augusta. Since those are felony charges, no plea was taken by the court during yesterday's proceeding. Prosecutors requested $250,000 cash bail, plus conditions that Welsh not be allowed to possess dangerous weapons, including firearms, that he submit to random searches for weapons, and that he not be allowed to operate a motor vehicle. Prosecutors say the Windsor and Augusta locations suffered $1 million in damage each, and the result of a search warrant was also concerning.
There were thousands of rounds of ammunition, tactical vest, body armor, helmets, flex cuffs, numerous firearms. And at the scene of the shootings of these 3 different locations were numerous shell casings.
Welsh's defense lawyer reserved their bail argument for a later time and for now consented to the state's request, which was granted by the court. A dispositional conference is scheduled for June 11th.
Meanwhile, it looks like some power bills will be going down this summer. Central Maine Power is proposing rates that could lower bills by about $4 a month on average. It's a temporary decrease as CMP looks at proposing another rate change for next year. The new rates would start in July, and the new proposal still requires approval from the Public Utilities Commission.
Public hearings began in Augusta on Governor Mills' proposed supplemental budget. The governor is pushing for major investments in areas such as healthcare and addressing affordability. Our Grace Blanchard with more.
The Maine Legislature's Appropriations and Financial Affairs Committee has begun hearing public testimony on Governor Janet Mills' proposed supplemental budget, a roughly $257 million addition to the more than $11 billion biennial budget.
Incredibly important for us to hear from the public about whether they like a proposal, whether they dislike a proposal, whether there's some topic that is wholly missing that they think that we need to address.
Public hearings began Tuesday with members of Maine's Health and Human Services sector addressing the committee, as the governor's budget proposes millions in funding to support the health and welfare of Maine people.
I think what a lot of us are talking about in this building this year is affordability. We're hearing a lot from our constituents about what things cost, the challenges that they're facing in terms of health care and housing.
In her 2026 State of the State address, Governor Mills unveiled her affordability agenda, which she says aims to deliver immediate financial relief and long-term cost stability for Maine people. Republican lawmakers have expressed skepticism regarding the funding sources and allocations in the proposed spending plan, especially the proposal for $300 affordability relief checks.
Our credit rating, if we look at long-term bonds, would be affected by that. So even though the $300 might help some people, the negative impact to the whole state is huge. And so I would hate to see that happen.
According to the House AFA chair, budget disputes are routine and the process must run its course.
At the end of the day, whatever we pass has to make sure that we're not spending more than the amount of money that we have in terms of resources.
Public hearings on the budget are expected to continue through February 26. In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Senator Susan Collins is backing a Republican-led bill that opponents fear could make it harder for many people to vote. Last week, the U.S. House passed the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, commonly referred to as the SAVE Act. The bill would require people to provide documented proof of citizenship when registering to vote and to show a photo ID to cast ballots in a federal race. Senator Collins voiced her support for the bill, saying these steps will ensure only American citizens are voting in our elections.
If we pass the SAVE Act, to me, it will help restore the public's confidence in election results, and that is really vital for our democracy.
Last November, more than 60% of Maine voters rejected a similar proposal. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows fears the SAVE Act could disenfranchise millions of eligible voters by creating additional barriers to participation, noting specifically married women who may have changed their names could be turned away at the polls because of discrepancies between their birth certificate and their current legal names.
Our elections are extraordinarily free, safe, and secure. We have excellent elections here in our state. We don't need folks in Washington telling us how to do things. And unfortunately, this legislation will have the impact of making it harder for people to vote.
The SAVE Act now faces the challenge of passing in the U.S. Senate.
Meanwhile, the Washington County Sheriff has announced he will not seek re-election. Sheriff Barry Curtis has spent more than 4 decades in law enforcement. He started his career with the Maine Warden Service, then moved on to the Maine State Police, where he served for nearly 25 years before retiring in 2010. After a short break, Curtis, who is a Cherryfield native, was elected Washington County Sheriff in 2014. He says leading the sheriff's office has been the highlight of his career.
Being a sheriff is different, you know, and there's a lot of responsibility, but I actually really enjoyed it. I had, you know, probably it's the most fun I've had in a long time, you know, in the last few years, because we ran into a financial problem here in Washington County, which, you know, kind of spoiled a lot of it, but I still really enjoy it.
Curtis says he would have preferred to leave on a high note, but he's confident the next sheriff will continue moving the department forward.
We wish Barry the best of luck.
Absolutely.
He started in, well, he was in there before me, but when I started back in 1985, he was very kind to a young reporter here in this market.
Very
he was
nice.
a state police officer. We wish Barry the very best.
Yes, congratulations. The time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a new cardiac prevention clinic is opening in Herman. We'll learn all about it coming up.
But first, another check of that forecast. A sunny day ahead today with highs near 35 degrees. Going to feel nice. Mostly clear tonight with lows dropping down to around 12. Tomorrow, also a mostly sunny day. Highs around 36. We'll be right back.
Seasons Lounge and Banquet Center. We're just 1 block from Hollywood Slots in Bangor and are now under new management with a new chef and a completely redesigned menu. Come grab a drink and enjoy a meal with us. Fans, food, fun. Seasons.
When lives are on the line, they don't hesitate to run towards danger. Unfortunately, the same gear that protects them from deadly flames can be hazardous to their health. Senator Susan Collins to the rescue. Susan helped introduce legislation that protects firefighters and first responders from cancer-causing forever chemicals in their equipment. Because their job is dangerous enough. Call Senator Collins and thank her for protecting Maine's first responders.
From pop music legends Cyndi Lauper and Broadway's Harvey Fierstein, Kinky Boots, the Tony and Grammy-winning feel-good best musical about seizing your destiny and being who you want to be. Be inspired by the Broadway show that has captured hearts around the world. Kinky Boots, March 3rd, Cross Insurance Center. On sale at Ticketmaster.com.
Seasons Lounge and Banquet Center. We're just 1 block from Hollywood Slots in Bangor and are now under new management with a new chef and a completely redesigned menu. Come grab a drink and enjoy a meal with us. Fans, food, fun. Seasons.
Our names were whispered through time, from generation to generation.
Don't you feel that there are things that cannot be explained.
God has a destiny for us.
Surely nothing is impossible for God.
Bangor residents, business owners, and visitors will have the opportunity to voice their opinions and concerns about parking in downtown Bangor. The city is holding a meeting in the Bangor Public Library on February 26 at 6 p.m. It's a time for the public to share their thoughts, ask questions, and describe how they use city parking. Those who wish to attend are asked to fill out an online RSVP form. You can find a link to that form in this story on our website at foxbangor.com.
Heart disease is the #1 killer here in the U.S., and according to the CDC, one new cardiac prevention clinic in Herman hopes to help patients make their heart health priority a priority once again. Our Jody Hersey stopped by Skutik Hope and Healing to learn more about their program.
For 13 years, Elizabeth Getchell has worked as a physician's assistant in cardiology. This year, she decided to follow her heart and open her own preventive cardiology clinic in Herman called Skutik Hope and Healing, where she will meet with patients one-on-one.
You know, family history is a huge part of heart disease, and it doesn't start when you're 50. It starts in your 20s and your 30s.
Having worked in healthcare, Getchell has seen firsthand how people have struggled to get an appointment with their cardiologist or primary care physician. That's why she wanted to offer her services to patients starting next month.
So there's two subsets of patients, basically. Primary prevention, people who don't have it, and secondary prevention for people who do have heart disease. So I'm basically the bridge between primary care and bridge between cardiology.
Getchell says she's truly looking to help both male and female patients improve their quality of life.
Looking at your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your weight, and just saying, hey, what do I need to do to kind of get back on track?
Herman's Economic Development Director Scott Perkins says the town is fortunate to have another healthcare option available in the area.
Herman provides a workforce for the entire region, eastern and central Maine. And the way we look at it, this is not just good for Herman and our residents, but the whole community in central and eastern Maine.
In Herman, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Boy, at a time when we hear of so many medical facilities paring things back or closing, it's nice to hear some new services in the area.
Definitely much needed. Well, the time now is 8:17. After the break, the social media addiction trial is underway in Los Angeles, and tech giants are set to take the witness stand.
We'll have the story coming up, plus a special American flag was honored in 2 Maine communities to celebrate America's 250th birthday. Those stories and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
A little winter weather never stopped Old George or Toyota from offering incredible savings to celebrate his birthday on vehicles from the longest-lasting brand at the Toyota Washington's Birthday Savings Event. You could get a $269 a month lease on an all-wheel drive Corolla Cross SUV with a total contract cost of $15,020. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance. Come get your savings in honor of Old George at your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Poor insulation is the origin of your heating and cooling complications. We are Dr. Energy Saver by TC Hafford Basement Systems. We are the local energy saving experts. We identify the problem areas and provide customized solutions that leave your home comfortable and your energy bills affordable. Whether it's a drafty attic or poorly sealed ductwork, we have your back and more. Financing is available. For a no-cost, no-obligation estimate, call Dr. Energy Saver by TC Hafford Basement Systems. We fix uncomfortable homes.
Do you want free internet? Forever? You got it. Really. We mean it. Spectrum is offering free fiber-powered internet forever. Want it? Just call this number and switch 4 mobile lines to Spectrum for a lifetime of internet you never pay for. It's not a trial. It's an unprecedented offer. So we'll say it again. Free fiber-powered internet forever. Have you called yet? Because your internet is forever. But this ad ends now.
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop, located at 36 Springer Drive in the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
A very special American flag that will eventually fly over our nation's capital was honored in two Maine communities as part of our nation's birthday celebration. Penobscot County Sheriff Troy Morton and Cumberland County Sheriff Kevin Joyce were among those present. Morton says the National Sheriff's Association partnered with the National Flag Foundation and UPS to bring this special flag called the Flag Sojourn 250 to the state of Maine. The flag arrived in Maine from California, and yesterday there was a special ceremony in Lubec, and then later on in the day another ceremony was held in Bucksport. The flag has been transported all across the country in honor of America's 250th birthday.
What an amazing honor to have this flag at both in Lubec and then in Bucksport, knowing that on the 4th of July in Washington, D.C., this will be raised by the National Sheriff's Association and Military Honor Guard, and then will be retired and memorialized as a historic flag that traveled across our country.
Bucksport and Lubec were the only stops here in Maine. The flag will continue traveling across the country until it's finally raised in Washington, D.C.
How special.
Yeah.
Now, here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. For fast, beautiful countertops, trust Stone Artisans, your main stone supplier. 2493040. Alrighty, small craft advisory is up until 7 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. With gusty winds today, we are going to have to watch for the active surf along the coast, and that surf is already increasing at around 4 to 6 feet according to the buoys, and that is all along the coast. Farther out towards sea, look at this, at around 6 to 14 feet according to the buoys as well. So definitely no surprise that we are seeing some active surf throughout the ocean. Now, we've had some snow out there that is now clearing out across the region. So for now, we are going to be seeing decreasing clouds throughout the day, and especially this morning to reveal a lot of sunshine. So as we do zoom things out, there is a large system across a good part of the United States, especially in the upper Midwest. This won't be causing much problems for us, but later on this week, we are going to be watching for some more activity that will be moving in. But locally for us, lots of sunshine. You might see a few passing clouds. Later on tonight, mostly clear. Some other spots may see some clouds or areas of dense fog. But as we head towards your Thursday, still lots of sunshine. And then by Thursday night, still not looking too bad. Mostly clear again, maybe some areas of dense fog or clouds still. Our average high temperature is at 32 degrees. We'll be in the mid-30s coming up today. Also into your Thursday and into your Friday. Upper 20s coming up Saturday, and still temperatures in the mid-30s coming up Sunday and your Monday. And then there's Tuesday, will be in the low 30s. So for today, again, the wind's going to be the bigger story. Mid-30s, mostly sunny and breezy. That northwest wind at around 25, perhaps 30 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, 12 degrees, mostly clear. The wind's backing off a bit out of the northwest at around 5, perhaps up to 10 miles per hour. For tomorrow, okay, mid-30s, mostly sunny, northwest breeze at around 5 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. Will be partly cloudy for your Friday with highs in the mid-30s. Another chance for snow, another system moves in for your Saturday with highs in the upper 20s, and then mid-30s for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime and so much more when you join today. Get all the perks with the PF Black Card for $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Join in club or online today. Deal ends soon. See club for details.
We're at Bob's with our 5-star rated modular Bob's sectional.
And I'm at the Jensen's, who bought this similar set from the competition. Both sectionals have buttery soft upholstery and come in multiple colors.
But only ours has Bobopedic memory foam, storage, wireless charging, and costs hundreds less. Plus, we've got Washington on our side.
And they've got Van Buren, whose greatest feat was coining the term okay. When you find the better choice, there's only one thing to say.
Oh, my Bob! Bob's Discount Furniture.
Come see us at R&K Variety in Hamden. R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store. With delicious homemade food made fresh daily, we offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, our famous lasagna, or one of our savory soups, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after work? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
You're never gonna believe who called the Cabin Masters.
Who called us?
Joe Bornstein's office. They have a small project for us.
How small?
Pretty small. It is on the lake.
Got $1 million views.
Well then, let's show them we mean business.
Did you know that Joe Bornstein has helped over 25,000 Maine families?
In all 16 counties?
Yep.
They're wicked good lawyers.
Fighting and winning for injured Mainers for over 50 years.
Good job, guys.
Nice. Injured Mainers know to call Joe.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime and so much more when you join today. Get all the perks with the PF Black Card for $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Join in club or online today. Deal ends soon. See club for details.
To the latest talks between the U.S. and Iran in Geneva. A U.S. official says some progress was made, but it comes as the U.S. continues to build up its military in the region. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio was in Washington with the details.
This morning, the latest round of nuclear talks in Geneva between the U.S. and Iran have ended without a major breakthrough. Vice President J.D. Vance says the talks made some progress, but that the Iranians have not agreed to all of President Trump's red lines when it comes to their nuclear program.
It's one of the most hostile and also one of the most irrational regimes in the world. You can't have people like that have the most dangerous weapon known to man. It would be awful for our security. It would be awful for the future of our children.
The Trump administration is seeking a deal to limit Iran's nuclear program and ensure it does not develop nuclear weapons. The supreme leader of Iran saying it's not pursuing weapons and has so far resisted demands that it halt uranium enrichment on its soil. The talks come amid a U.S. military buildup in the region with a second U.S. carrier strike group now en route. President Trump has threatened military action if Iran doesn't compromise. In a rare show of force Tuesday, Iran announced the temporary closure of the Strait of Hormuz for live fire drills. The waterway is a crucial international trade route through which 20% of the world's oil passes. It's the first time that Iran has closed parts of the strait since the U.S. began threatening Iran with military action. Also in Geneva, talks between the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine are expected to resume today. President Trump is warning Ukraine to make a deal with Russia fast, but key differences remain over land. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
A fiery explosion that ripped through a church in upstate New York yesterday injured 5 people. Among those injured is the pastor and firefighters who responded to the scene. The call was reported as a gas odor inside the building. Officials say New York police are now investigating the cause of that explosion that happened around 10:30 a.m. at the Abundant Life Church in Boonsville. The church was reportedly heated by propane cylinders at the time, and according to troopers, 4 people were in the basement when the furnace turned on, triggering that explosion. Pastor Brandon Pitts and 4 members of the Boonville Fire Department were sent to the hospital with injuries. Police say there's no indication of criminal activity.
Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg is expected to testify today inside a Los Angeles courtroom at a trial over whether social media companies have been deliberately getting children addicted to their apps. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio also has that report.
This morning, Mark Zuckerberg set to take the witness stand. The man in charge of Facebook and Instagram will face questions under oath about whether his social media platform deliberately targets children with addictive design features. A 20-year-old woman who's also suing YouTube claims the apps hooked her with features like instant notifications, autoplay, and infinite scrolling, which she claims caused her depression and suicidal thoughts. She began using social media at the age of 6. Some legal analysts say jurors may have a tough time buying her argument.
case.
They're pointing at KGM, that's the name for the 19-year-old who's the plaintiff in this case. They're pointing at KGM and saying, yes, there could be some negative things about social media, but let's talk about her. There was already issues with her, and that's what caused a lot of the mental and physical issues that she's arguing with, not social media.
Defense attorneys are trying to prove the plaintiff had mental health struggles before using their apps, and they say the companies have invested in safeguards and new policies to protect children. An Instagram executive testified last week that keeping teens safe is in the company's financial interest, saying, quote, "It's really hard to imagine any instance where prioritizing safety isn't good for revenue." This will be Zuckerberg's first testimony in court on the potential dangers of social media.
I think that there are harms that we need to work to mitigate.
He's previously testified before Congress in 2024 when he addressed parents who said their children were exploited or harmed online.
TikTok and Snapchat were also sued in this case, but already settled. The trial is expected to last through March and could determine how hundreds of similar lawsuits play out. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
An avalanche in California has left a group of skiers in danger as rescue teams race to save them. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office responded to the avalanche on Tuesday, which occurred around 11:30 a.m. local time at northwest at Lake Tahoe. Authorities say at least 6 people survived, but as many as 9 skiers are still missing this morning. The Sheriff's Office says the 6 survivors were successfully rescued on Tuesday night, and 2 of the skiers have been taken to the hospital for treatment. The total group consisted of ski guides and several clients who were on the last day of a 3-day backcountry skiing trip, according to the company leading the trip, Blackbird Mountain Guides. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office says that rescue teams were met with highly dangerous conditions. The Sierra Nevada Avalanche Center previously issued a warning for avalanche conditions early on Tuesday morning. California Governor Gavin Newsom says the state is coordinating additional resources to support the search and rescue efforts there.
Wow, look at that.
How scary.
Very. Coming up on the second half of the newscast, members of the Herman High School girls basketball team volunteered at their local food pantry.
We'll hear from them coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Perpico Bangor is open and ready for business. Jump into the best products, pricing, and customer service in town. Join a growing community with monthly events, art and music nights, daily specials, and plenty of good vibes. Located at 431 Audlin Road, right off of 395. Stop by and check us out today.
Welcome to basketball country.
Fox Primetime Hoops.
We got one for you tonight.
Saturday night is game night. Different energy.
Listen to this crowd.
Different stakes. Different gravity. Feel the weight of every possession.
Oh my!
This is where teams learn what they're made of.
He is electrifying.
And players find out if they're built for the moment. Illinois, UCLA, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox.
Perpico Bangor is open and ready for business. Jump into the best products, pricing, and customer service in town. Join a growing community with monthly events, art and music nights, daily specials, and plenty of good vibes. Located at 431 Audlin Road, right off of 395. Stop by and check us out today.
You are watching WFVX, Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Wednesday, February 18th, 2026, and today is also Ash Wednesday.
This is a Christian holy day of sacrifice and prayer. It marks the start of the 40-day Lenten season, focusing on repentance, prayer, and fasting before Easter. This special day is defined by the imposition of ashes on the foreheads of Christians from burned palm branches from the previous year's Palm Sunday. The ashes symbolize mortality, humility, and penance.
That's one of the things, when I was a Catholic growing up, we looked forward to Ash Wednesday.
Yes.
We'd all go to school, we'd have the little smudge on our forehead. So. All right, time for some history. It was on this day back in 1885. Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn was published for the first time here in the U.S. In 1929, the first Academy Awards were announced. And in 1930 on this date, the dwarf planet Pluto was discovered by American astronomer Clyde Tombaugh. It had been considered a full planet until 2006, when it was demoted for failing to meet new criteria for a full-sized planet. Pluto is smaller than the Earth's moon, and it also takes 248 years to complete one single orbit around the sun. How
Poor
about
little
that?
Pluto.
I've always felt bad for Pluto
Me
since that
too.
happened. And I hope the other planets didn't pick on it.
I hope so. Well, in 1970, the Chicago 7 defendants were found not guilty of conspiring to incite riots during the 1968 Democratic National Convention. And in 1978, the first Ironman triathlon was held in Kona, Hawaii.
Something I'll never do.
No, me either. That's very hard.
Yeah.
And in 2001, racing fans were saddened after NASCAR great Dale Earnhardt Sr. died during a crash on the last lap of the Daytona 500. Also in 2001, veteran FBI agent Robert Philip Hansen was arrested and accused of spying for Russia for over 15 years. It was considered as possibly the worst intelligence disaster in U.S. history. Hansen was sentenced to life in prison.
That was huge news at the time. For birthdays today, they include rapper Dr. Dre, who is 61 today, actor John Travolta is 72, and game show host Vanna White is 69 years old today. Happy birthday to you also if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. For fast, beautiful countertops, trust Stone Artisans, your main stone supplier. 2493040. Alrighty, we have advisories posted. This right here is a small craft advisory that is posted until 7 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. We'll be watching for some high surf coming up, especially through today with some gusty winds that we will be seeing. In the meantime, here's what we are looking at. We have some snow tracking from the west, and that is tracking east. This will be clearing out throughout the morning period, and the clouds will be breaking up to reveal a good amount of sunshine. There's another system off toward the west, and in the meantime, we are going to be dry for a few days before we get some more activity in here. So futurecast for today, a lot of sunshine, perhaps a few passing clouds, and later on tonight, notice we'll have a few passing clouds, perhaps some fog too, but overall tonight and a parts of your Thursday, still holding on to the clear skies and sunshine as well. Gusty winds up to 20 to 25 miles per hour today, still some wind tonight, and as we head towards tomorrow, still some wind to keep an eye on. The hourly forecast moving forward for today, temperatures making it into the 30s, plenty of sunshine. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Boy, do they have a lot of basketball tourney highlights,
They
too.
do.
We'll show it to you right after this.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
Welcome to Stowaway's Town Tavern in Bucksport, where every meal's a hearty feast that feels like a family gathering. Stowaway serves generous portions of classic home-style dishes that are sure to satisfy. Complement your meal with your favorite drink from Ugly's Tap Room, Stowaway's full-service bar. Come as our guest, leave as our friend at Stowaway's Town Tavern in Bucksport. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and snacks in between.
Keep your feet on the ground, they said. So many people have told you you can't. They say you don't listen. So you don't listen to them. You rise to your moment. It feels like every idea is crystal clear. It feels like every line, every angle is perfect. It feels like you are at the top of your game with high-speed, reliable, no-stress Fidium fiber internet.
It feels like Fidium.
items in the correct order.
Before, in between, definitely after.
This is The Perfect Line.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back in, folks. We've got a ton of action for you from a jam-packed Tournament Tuesday at the Cross Center. We'll get right to it with Class S boys. Number 2 Easton taking on number 3 Katahdin. Let's just get this out of the way and say, remember this name, Mason Pelletier. This guy is nuts. He gets the steal. He's going to take it all the way to the net. Deja vu. Same play, same player, same result. Pelletier makes him pay yet again. Bears with the lead. The Cougars get some rhythm in the second with this basket from Calvin Richardson, and the game remains close. But then Brighton Hartsgrove with a beauty. He drives all the way, and he's going to float it in, drops it in for 2. Back on the other end, it's Pelletier again with sweet moves to the rack. Count the basket and the foul. He's amped up. And how about one more for the guy averaging 42 points a game in the postseason? On the break, he's out in front, and he's got it. Bears win 72-42.
Honestly, what gets me going is my teammates going. When my teammates hit a couple threes, I'm ready, and I'm gonna start scoring too.
Who will Easton face off with? That's determined in this next game between number 1 Jonesport Beals and number 5 Shed. Regional final on the line. Let's get it. And this one starts with a bang as the Royals. Anderson Alley drives and hits the reverse for the early lead on the other end. Another nice finish. This time it's the Tigers. Craig Cushing, underhand floater off the top of the glass and falls in. Ball back with the Royals. It's kicked outside. Nathaniel Johnson, zero hesitation from number 4 as he fires the triple, splashes it, and the Royals start to pull ahead. Then Johnson feeds his teammate Corbin Robinson for a 3 of his own. Again, it's good. The number 1 team is showing why they're the best. Johnson wasn't done. How about one more for the kid? He knocks it down, and the Royals knock off the Tigers 55-41.
We just had to make sure, number 30, he's glass cleaner. We just needed to. He was really keeping them in, so we just had to buckle down and keep him off the glass.
First girls game of the day was the 3-seed Jonesport Beals taking on the 2-seed Katahdin. First spot in the regional final. The Royals make the first move. McKenna Kenny drains the corner 3, say that 5 times fast, to take the lead. Shortly after, Maya Mills says, you know what, I want one too. She buries the triple as Jonesport Beals squad is just full of tongue twisters. But in the second quarter, Katahdin would make their run before the half. Dakota Stevens drains the 3 to make it 20-14. Cougars going into the break. Second half, and Alina Beal sets the tone with this swat. Then it's Emily McNally who knocks down the 3 from the top of the key as Katahdin is rolling. Royals trying to claw back as Aspen Alley puts the second chance points in the hoop, but it was too little too late as McNally gets the 3 to fall, and Katahdin advances to the Class S regional final with a 46-39 win.
It's exciting. We've been here before. I believe our matchup was Southern Aroostook the last time we were here, and it's just going to be a good win if we make it there. So.
Who will take on Katahdin in the regional final, the 1-seed Wisdom or the 4-seed Ashland? Let's find out. Ashland had it going at the start. Look at this ball movement. It's finished off by Sadie Trams, who takes the contact for the and 1 bucket, but now it's Wisdom's turn to show off the teamwork. They cross court just to swing it all the way back around where Maddie Sear drains the triple. But here in the second, the top seed would separate. Sear picks up the loose ball, gets out on the break. She dishes it to Ava Lerman, who drains the jumper. These two dominated the game. Wisdom up 8. Later in the second half, it's Ellie Sear who feeds Lerman as she floats it in. Then it's Sear's turn for the floater herself as Wisdom wins 47-22. They'll take on Katahdin in the regional final.
I think it's great. I think it's a great opportunity for us to show who we really are. We know we've beaten Katahdin twice, but it doesn't mean anything at all. But I think if we come out strong, we'll be able to beat them.
All right, let's go to Class C. They finished up the quarterfinal action with the floor tonight in Bangor. We've got the first Class C game of the day. It might have been the best. Number 5 Washington Academy taking on number 4 Foxcroft Academy. This one was a barn burner. We pick it up late in the first. It's Lucas Sands playing bully ball. He gets the tough and one bucket to give the Ponies a lead, but Washington Academy would respond. Jaden Mahar drives and lays it in to give them a 20-15 lead, but the Ponies would take over the rest of the first half. Lennon McAfee drains the 3. Foxcroft Academy takes the lead into the break. We go to the fourth where everything changed. Raiders down 6, but Luis Rosa gets the bucket and the foul, but he's not done. Very next possession, he does it yet again. Just like that, Washington Academy ties it up after trailing double digits. Ponies not out of the fight. Isaiah Ugburo gets the steal, takes it the other way, and finishes the Euro step with the left to tie it at 39. Washington Academy would pull away, and Akram Nkawanzi delivers the dagger right here as Washington Academy storms back to win 52-42.
I mean, we work hard every day, so I'm just here to do my job, you know. I came all the way from Brazil and up from here. I want to play basketball in the U.S. I'm having fun, and I'm proud of not just me or whole team. That's not for me, it's for everybody here.
Now for the Class C quarterfinal game, the number 1 Caribou Vikings match up with the number 8 Calais Blue Devils for a spot in the semifinal game. Blue Devils get us started. It's Frank Miliano missing the first shot, but he works towards the basket to recover his miss. He makes up for it with a bucket. Then they miss a 3. Landon Belanger grabs the board and tosses it up the court to Owen Corrigan. He's patient and then dishes it to Chandler St. Peter, who gets the finish at the rack. Blue Devils keep it close early. Here's the corner tray from Isaac Downing. Bang, he's got it. Vikings still up second half. They start to pull ahead. Corrigan finds Declan Miller under the net for an easy deuce. Then watch this play. Missed shot is going to be tipped out and swung to Corrigan. He takes it himself. Check out the acrobatic finish on this one as he puts the game on ice. Vikings win 73-47.
Yeah, we really turned up the defense in the second half. That's how we like to play. That's our kind of our MO, and it was nice to finally get back to that and get the jitters out.
Now another candidate for game of the night. It was the 4 seed Dexter Piscataquis taking on the 5 Caribou. We skip to the second half in this one. Caribou down 7, but here they come as Quinn Corrigan gets the N1 bucket to fall, but Dexter would pull away again as Desiree Adams would get out on the break, lays it in with the left to put Dexter up 8 in the third. Caribou storms back again. Here it's Peyton West who finishes the layup to give Caribou a 1-point lead with under 3 to go. Tie game under 2. Corrigan spins, drives, and lays it in to give Caribou a 2-point lead, but this one would go to overtime. In overtime, Madison Davis hits a free throw to make it a 2-point game. Other end now, Dexter down 3. A free throw's missed. Time winding down. Dexter has a chance to tie. What are they going to do with it? The shot is no good. Caribou wins 43-40. Quinn Corrigan hit the only field goal in overtime.
I mean, I was really just lucky that the ball came to me at the end there. And defense was something we focused on all practice this week, so I think it helped with this game today.
Lastly tonight, the number 1 Mattinock girls take on the number 8 Orono Red Riots. We'll have another upset. Will we have another upset? Let's see. First up, it's Orono and Nina Mitchell. She has her shot blocked, but it's hauled in and kicked out to Aubrey Quinney. She chucks up the long 2-pointer, and it goes down. Next possession, Mitchell returns the favor and swats away Megan House's shot. But a few moments later, House gets the ball back. She finds her good friend Addison Sear near the net, and she's able to lay it in for 2, and they would keep going to her. Once again, the pass is where only Sear can get it. She quickly turns in 2 more. Lastly, Orono's Madison Sinclair on the run launches a 3, and it goes. But ultimately, the Lady Lynx would come away with the win 64-30. We will have all the tournament action on Wednesday for you on Fox and ABC at both 6 and 6:30 and 10 and 11. We hope you will join us. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after.
Craving something delicious? Welcome to High Street Market, located at 167 Enfield Road in Lincoln. Breakfast options? Grab a cup of coffee and try one of our sandwiches or burritos. When breakfast is over, we're just getting started. Pizza, subs, burgers, and pastries. Come get lost in Danny's Beer Cave. Order online and save 10% off your first order. High Street Market, where your taste buds go to party.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Our hands built America. Hands that carve, shape, teach, and care. We've always had tools that made us faster and more capable, but they never replaced the people who held them, because a machine can't take pride in a hard day's work or teach a son right from wrong, because the most important intelligence is human. AI is being designed to replace us. We should have a say.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more. Where every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah.
You hand me a trash panda. That was gangster.
It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it. 25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. The Herman Neighbors Supporting Neighbors Community Food Pantry got a little help from local teens yesterday. Members of the Herman High School girls basketball team lent a helping hand by going through some of the donations the pantry has received, including clothing, home goods, shoes, and more, helping to get all of the pantry stock organized. Pantry Volunteer Director Carol Lackady says the entire nonprofit organization is staffed by just a few volunteers, so the assistance was more than welcome. She says organizing the pantry supplies will make it easier for clients to access what they need.
We just have everything. We're a different food pantry than most, and our food is non-perishable, so it's shelf-stable. And then we have the clothing and the books and the videos and DVDs, all that on top of it.
The pantry is always open to all and accepting volunteers. For more information, visit Neighbors Supporting Neighbors on Facebook.
What a nice thing to do.
It is.
And a new report shows Americans set another domestic air travel record last year. AAA Northeast analyzed multiple years of checkpoint data from the Transportation Security Administration. The organization found that more than 904 million flyers went through TSA checkpoints in 2025. That's an increase of 2.57 million travelers compared to 2024. The rise in travelers marks a new annual domestic air travel record. And according to the analysis, flyer volume for the holiday travel season was a little slower in 2025 compared to the previous year. But AAA says the government shutdown could have contributed to that decline. The analysis also found every Sunday in July 2025 saw more than 3 million domestic air travelers. So AAA says those who wish to avoid airport crowds should probably skip Sundays in July.
Huh, never knew that.
Makes sense. A lot of people may be wrapping up their weekend, heading home after the weekend.
And obviously July, summer is the big travel time. So
yeah.
Now here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. For fast, beautiful countertops, trust Stone Artisans, your main stone supplier. 249-3040. Alrighty, small craft advisory is up until 7 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday with gusty winds today. We are going to have to watch for the active surf along the coast, and that surf is already increasing at around 4 to 6 feet according to the buoys, and that is all along the coast. Farther out towards sea, look at this, at around 6 to 14 feet according to the buoys as well. So definitely no surprise that we are seeing some active surf throughout the ocean. Now, we've had some snow out there that is now clearing out across the region. So for now, we are going to be seeing decreasing clouds throughout the day, and especially this morning to reveal a lot of sunshine. So as we do zoom things out, there is a large system across a good part of the United States, especially in the upper Midwest. This won't be causing much problems for us, but later on this week, we are going to be watching for some more activity that will be moving in. But locally for us, lots of sunshine. You might see a few passing clouds. Later on tonight, mostly clear. Some other spots may see some clouds or areas of dense fog. But as we head towards your Thursday, still lots of sunshine. And then by Thursday night, still not looking too bad. Mostly clear again, maybe some areas of dense fog or clouds still. Our average high temperature is at 32 degrees. We'll be in the mid-30s coming up today. Also into your Thursday and into your Friday. Upper 20s coming up Saturday. And still temperatures in the mid-30s coming up Sunday and your Monday. And then there's Thursday or Tuesday, excuse me, will be in the low 30s. So for today, again, the wind's going to be the bigger story. Mid-30s, mostly sunny and breezy. That northwest wind at around 25, perhaps 30 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, 12 degrees, mostly clear. The wind's backing off a bit out of the northwest at around 5, perhaps up to 10 miles per hour. For tomorrow, okay, mid-30s, mostly sunny. Northwest breeze at around 5 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Stone Artisans. Will be partly cloudy for your Friday with highs in the mid-30s. Another chance for snow. Another system moves in for your Saturday with highs in the upper 20s. And then mid-30s for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky.
Even if your child has moderate to severe eczema, they can feel the flow, feel the breeze. And Dupixent helps them feel the heal. It helps calm a key source of inflammation under the skin that can cause eczema. Dupixent is the only biologic therapy approved to treat kids as young as 6 months for noticeably clearer skin and less itch. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Dupixent. Help heal their skin from within so they can stay ahead of eczema. Find an eczema specialist and ask about Dupixent today.
In winter, accidents can happen in an instant. From icy sidewalks to winter roads, there are close calls around every corner. And when a close call becomes something more, insurance companies won't always look out for you, but we will. For over 50 years, the law offices of Joe Bornstein have helped injured Mainers. Accidents happen to be our specialty. When it's more than a close call, call Joe.
In Minneapolis, innocent citizens gunned down. Here in Maine, ICE agents detaining local law enforcement. And Susan Collins is giving ICE even more power. As head of the committee that controls spending, Collins wrote the bill to increase ICE funding with no restrictions, no restraints, letting masked agents enter homes without warrants, raid churches and classrooms. Tell Susan Collins to stop towing the party line and start holding ICE accountable.
Sit down, unwind, and grab yourself a glass of wine. Today is National Drink Wine Day. Today is for fans of red, white, or rosé. People can celebrate by attending a wine tasting, trying a new wine, toasting with some friends, or visiting a vineyard. When paired with the right meal, the alcoholic beverage can enhance the flavors and spices, fruits and sauces as well. Wine lovers can also learn more about how their favorite vino gets made, including their regions and grapes. It is recommended to drink wine in moderation, of course.
Oh,
and it is kind of early in the day, so you may want to wait until later.
Maybe have a glass of wine later.
Yeah.
Well, there is a new member in the Chicago Zoo family. Zoo officials welcomed She, a red panda. She is a 7-year-old panda from New York's Prospect Park Zoo, and he is now adjusting to his new home at the Pepper Family Wildlife Center. Caregivers there are helping him get acclimated with his habitat mate, Nisha. Animal experts say this was an effort with the red panda species survival plan. The hope is that she and Nisha will have cubs later on. Red pandas are currently an endangered species and native to East Asia and to the Himalayas.
Let's hope he likes his new girlfriend and she likes him.
Hopefully, yes. Look how cute, though.
They are beautiful creatures.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, her fashion sense is timeless. But if I had to pin it down, I'd say 2003 and Taylor Loft. It's Melissa Peterman. Enjoy.